Welcome to the Trailchasers podcast.
This episode is presented by Icon Vehicle Dynamics. The Icon team builds performance, suspension, wheels, and products that are made to go out into the dirt and bash. Go get Icon equipped and have a good time. And by Nexen Tire. The Rodian MTX will give you the confidence to take on obstacles that you probably shouldn't, but hey, that's part of the fun.
Today on the show, we talk to Aaron and Scott with Express Rally. They tell us about their high-end, fancy, schmancy overlanding experience, catered by Outback and Round Table, pizza, whatever. Guys, we're blowing it. We can't get a gas station to cater our trips. Also, we get into some Mojave specifics. How many U-turns will we have? How many gallons of gas will I spill? Will we find Thunderdome?
Hey, there's nothing wrong with having a surf and turf next to the campfire.
Pop-Tarts. All about the Pop-Tarts.
No.
It's time for the Trailchasers podcast. Are you ready? Let's begin.
Trailchaser, get out there and chase your adventure. Trailchaser, our time is now.
Get out there and chase your adventure. Get out there and chase your adventure. Get out there and chase your adventure. Get out there and chase your adventure.
Okay, we are on the live feed with Scott and Aaron from Express Rally. Matt and Jose are joining from their bunkers somewhere hidden in Southern California. I am currently enjoying a passion fruit truly hard seltzer, and it says hard on the can, so that gives me some street cred, I'm sure. Scott and Aaron. So like we were just saying before Matt,
What street is that? Like
Sesame, totally Sesame.
That's got to be in the OC, I'm sure. There's
Beverly Hills.
Exactly. That ain't South Central, dude.
Is this Rodeo Drive?
Yeah, well, I'll take what I can get. So we're 10 minutes into this live feed, and as we start talking, Matt asked the very prudent question whether or not we're recording, and that reminded me that I didn't even turn on the recording. So we are now recording. I think 2 sips of Truly kind of messed up my flow.
Good job, Matt.
You know it's bad when Matt has to remind you to start the recording.
What is wrong with our world right now?
Wow.
So I was saying that Express Rally, we learned about Express Rally through Jeremy at Icon.
You did.
I did. Well, maybe, yeah, I did. I don't know. Jose knows just about everything there is to know about anything, so he probably knew.
I've been following you guys for a while.
But Scott had sent us, prior to the interview, Scott had sent us an email with a really good background of kind of what Express Rally was and the growth into Express Rally Overland. And Scott, I wanted to ask you, just kind of give a broad background of what the starting point of Express Rally was, and kind of bring us up to speed where we're at today.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us on. It's awesome to chat with you guys and kind of get the word out there a little bit more about what we're doing. But I founded Express Rally in 2015. Our events are primarily known for road rallies for exotics and high-end sports cars.
Okay.
So I started the company 2015, and with myself and about 15 friends, we all had cars. We just wanted to be able to put together scenic driving routes, track time, stay in nice hotels, just kind of put together a complete package for me and my friends, basically. And what happened was I had done other events in the past and kind of wanted to do something that was different, focused on the things that I was wanting to kind of focus on. And, I think the driving factor for the most part was just unapologetically focused on the driving experience. I don't care if you show up with 2 Rolexes on your arm. I don't care if you have a Lamborghini. I just care if you want to drive your car.
Nice.
I think if you show up with 2 Rolexes on your arm, that's probably the same street that Cody was trying to get credit drinking Truly.
That's Cody's neighbor, by the way.
Exactly. That's a 2 Rolex probably 6-pack of Truly Street right there.
I can see that, but the brand was primarily built on road rallies. So from 2015 until now, the road rally brand has just grown exponentially. We do events primarily in the southern states, but now we also operate on the West Coast and the Pacific Northwest.
Okay.
So we have 700 to 800 people that have done our events over the years, and most of them are repeat customers. So it's really blown me away just with how quickly and just with just kind of the speed at which it's grown. It's not my full-time job. I do it on the side just because I enjoy it, and it's just kind of a way for me to focus my passion on that stuff. So the road rallies they've taken off and grown like crazy. They still are operating at a high level. We do about 8 events a year as far as road rallies go.
And when you say those road rallies, like what kind of attendance are you getting? Are those, how many people do you have at each one of these rallies?
So typically we have 50 cars is my max. Some of the events are a little bit smaller depending on what racetrack we're going to and kind of what the activities are. Some of the tracks, you really don't need to have that many people out there. So we kind of adjust it based off of the event. And you're dealing with 100 people. So I'd say anywhere from 80 to 100 people on the road rally side. And we've been doing it so long now that we kind of have a good formula figured out as far as what we need to be doing and the logistics behind it and everything else. So it's kind of runs itself. I open the events usually about 9 months to a year in advance. They sell out in about 30 to 60 days.
Wow.
And then we do 8 of those a year. So it's one of those things where I try to keep the demand higher than, higher than the supply. Yeah. And it's worked. So, one of the things that I wanted to do about 2 years ago in 2018, I've always been a big Toyota enthusiast and specifically Land Cruisers. That's always what I have daily driven. And so I wanted to see if we could kind of take what makes the road rally event successful and then replicate that in an off-road space. And it's proven to be difficult in some senses, but I think that we've got it maybe not completely figured out, but we kind of know what we're after and what we're trying to accomplish with it now. So in 2018, we launched the Express Rally Adventure Series, which those events over the last 2 years have just grown astronomically as far as the people that want to do them and participate in them. And we kept getting a lot of feedback from people that were into overlanding that was like, you guys should really try to do an overland event. And so what that led to was us just spending, Aaron and I probably spent 9 months to a year talking through and planning how we wanted to dive into the overland space. And it's very different moving from doing an event where you're booking hotels for people and putting together these different experiences for them to something that is camping focused. You have to answer different questions when you're dealing with an overlanding crowd compared to what you're dealing with for a road rally. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we'll talk about, we basically have 2 different types of adventure series events. We have a traditional adventure series event, and then we have an overland event. And those are 2 very different things targeted at very different people.
Okay.
So we can spend some time diving into those if you want. But as far as the broad spectrum of Express Rally, it's pretty much it. Started with road rallies, grew. We just had a lot of success, growth surrounding that. And then we decided to dive into the off-road kind of world just because we had a lot of people that, we're car guys. So we may like Jeeps or Land Cruisers, but also Porsches or, Mustangs or whatever. So it was kind of a natural fit. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, you know what I want? You know what I want? I want one of those Ford Focus hatchback RS rally cars. Those little I want a hatchback. I want a fast hatchback. I'll only have it for a couple weeks because I'll either end up dead or in jail. But I want one for that period of time to drive. Going back to 2015, you'd said that you had done some events in your past, and you kind of glossed over that. What kind of event experience did you have prior to bringing that to your passion?
Just participating in other road rallies. So some very well known.
Gumball.
Yeah. I had done a variety of stuff, both in kind of the road rally, and then there were some lesser known that weren't necessarily national rallies, but just driving club events through different vehicles I owned and things like that. And I really like certain components of them. The community focus and the networking was the biggest thing. You know, the reason you do those events was because you like driving your car, but because you also just want to meet other people that do the same thing.
Yeah.
And the issue was with some of those events, like a third of the people were really cool and the rest of them were sort of just douchebags. So inevitably,
Imagine that.
Yeah.
It's just Matt.
And I felt like we could structure things differently and try to present our brand in a way that was going to be a lot more welcoming to people and create an environment where people wanted to be part of what we were doing without necessarily sacrificing the quality of vehicle that's in the event. For me, one of my
no
favorite
Nissan
things about our
Frontier.
road
So
rallies-
like you want a quality vehicle, you leave the Nissan Frontier out. It's an all Ford Ranger rally.
Close. I think that variety goes a long way. But one of the cool things with our road rallies is you're going to see the Ferrari 488, you're going to see the 911, but you're also going to see a nicely modified Mustang GT, or you're going to see an R32, Skyline, or you're going to see a father and son doing the event for the first time in his Corvette or something like that. So it's a mixture of really genuinely good people. And I think at the end of the day, that's really what makes our events different, is it's just genuinely good people that after you're on the road all day or you're on the trail all day, you want to go have dinner and have a beer with them.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the most important thing. The cars are great. The experiences are great. The places you go are great. But the reason that people keep coming back is because of the community that we've built and because of the people that are involved. And that's something that Aaron and I really try to spend a lot of time focusing on, specifically with the overland events, because that event is different because you are spending so much more time with people around a campfire, sharing meals and things like that. So he and I have been really intentional about that. And Aaron's leadership on the overland events, he does a lot of the heavy lifting on those. But just the ability to get a good group of people together and go from there has been the biggest thing. It's not hard to plan events, but it's hard to get the right group of people together and really think through all that stuff.
Yeah. So Aaron, go ahead, Matt.
You're also sharing stories about conspiracies around the campfire. You got to make sure that you have that comes with a mix of people. If you got just a bunch of like straight edge, I don't want to say they're boring, but you want to have
I am not boring,
people.
Sir. My mom says I'm a good time.
Even say you.
My mom says I'm a catch, and any woman would be lucky to have me.
We didn't say the fun police.
Yeah, Aaron, how did he talk you into giving up your nights and weekends to plan this stuff and get involved?
Great question. So I actually started with it. My wife and I just 2 years ago had bought a 2018 TRD off-road premium 4Runner, and I think it was like April. So we've just hit our 2-year mark with it. And I saw a sponsored ad on Facebook, lo and behold, for the inaugural adventure series with Express Rally. And so my wife and I were like, this is what we got this for. Like, you want to go test it out and see what this is about, And sure enough, my wife and I packed up the car and we took one of our dogs, put the kid with the grandparents and went out for the weekend. And man, it was amazing. It totally checked all of our boxes on like why we want to kind of get into this area and the genre of driving, and definitely quickly made our list of modifications that we wanted to make. And because when we did the inaugural one, our vehicle was completely stock. So made our list, and then come January of 2019, we started working on it. Installed the Icon Stage 3 suspension system, and put some new KM3s on it. And then over the course of the last year, it's become the vehicle that it is now, pretty rapidly, I would say. And probably more quickly than I should have done from a financial standpoint.
It still wasn't fast enough, though. It still wasn't. You didn't.
Yeah.
It sucks you in. What was your off-road adventure overland experience prior to that?
None.
Really? So you got you got that first hit, and you were hooked.
Yeah, it was very much that for us. Like when we got it, we knew that we wanted a vehicle that we could start going and doing something in with our family. Mm-hmm. So we wanted something rather big. At the time we had 3 huge dogs. And so we were like, how many living creatures can we pack into a 4Runner? And so we definitely tried it out. But I think the big thing is that we knew that, 4Runners have an amazing reputation. They've got an amazing resale value. If we decided that wasn't the option for us. But the reality was we knew that it was going to take us pretty much anywhere we could want to go. And so going through this adventure series, the traditional series like Scott was talking about is a little bit more tamed, on day 1, and then day 2, we jump into the off-road park and go and have fun. The Hot Springs Off-Road Park is nationally recognized, for being a really great park. And it's a great place to go and kind of test your driving capabilities and see what your vehicle can do. And Scott and I were on a trail together for the better part of 4 hours. And that was where my wife and I looked at each other and we were like, we really want to do this. Like, we want to kind of dig in and see what this is all about. And so then come January, once I started modifying the vehicle, I reached out to Scott and was like, hey man, I really want to be a part of this. Like, what else can I do? And so we started talking about the next event and modifications we could make to the route and how we could make it better. I think just like any business that wants to continue evolving and become better for its patrons is acknowledging the fact that things can be better. There's room for growth. There's room for improvement. And I've definitely found that with Scott, as we've looked towards the future and what we're going to do with overland events and moving out west. There's a lot to be had, a lot of improvements to be made. But that's the big thing is like, we keep asking, like, what else can we do? How can we continue to push the envelope on this?
And so go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I had a question. Aaron said something earlier.
Yeah.
It was like a term, a phrase or something. What's resale value?
Great question. I haven't had to experience it yet.
What? I don't understand that concept.
That's because
you buy something, you bash it.
Yeah, you destroy everything. That's why no one's going to buy your beat up crap.
Nobody wants to buy anything that I have. That's
why I sell a vehicle every 2 years, because I haven't had the chance to ruin it yet.
Look, I've barely had the Frontier for a year. You don't want it. You don't want it. I mean, look, that thing is like, it's pretty bulletproof still. Like, I'm still killing in it. But, man, I wouldn't buy it. So it's a good thing.
That's because of the smell inside. That has nothing to do with the truck itself.
That too.
What's cool about what Aaron did is he took a stock vehicle to the first one, so he appreciates all the modifications. Like, he could tell.
That's true. Yeah.
That
absolutely.
The mods that you did were like, wow, this is significantly better.
Oh yeah, the second that I rolled off the lot with that Icon suspension system, I was like, dear God.
Yeah, we are big fans of the Icon suspension systems. You guys mentioned moving out west. Where have so going back to the street rally series, what locations have you done the street rally in? And then where has the early stages of the overland series been, adventure series been, and how, what's kind of your progress pattern to get towards the West Coast?
Yeah, so the road rally events, we've been doing those out west since 2017. We've done the 2017 event was San Diego to LA and then LA to Vegas. The second year we did Vegas to Park City, Utah, Park City, Utah to Aspen, and then Aspen to Denver and ended there. Last year we did Las Vegas to LA through Bakersfield and Ojai and that whole area. So a lot of the Kern Valley. I mean, a lot of just incredible driving roads that you get out there. And we really put the emphasis on putting together bucket list driving experiences. If you want to come and sleep in till 10, have brunch, drive a little bit, and get to the hotel at 4, so you and the girl you're trying to impress can get cleaned up and go have a fancy dinner, don't do Express Rally. At like 7, be on the road at 8, have one of the most engaging and dynamic driving experiences of your life, have a cool lunch somewhere, and then get to the hotel at 5 or 6 o'clock, shower, grab a beer, go have dinner, and go drink more beers. Express Rally is probably for you.
Dude, that sounds like my Fridays coming home from work. Like, that's pretty much just sit in my car and think about drinking some beers. It seems like I'm in my truck for at least 8 hours before I get home, and then I drink more beers.
So that's kind of what we've done out west. We also have events in the Pacific Northwest, so Seattle, Washington State, Oregon. That's a completely different event, but we launched that one last year, and it was a phenomenal experience. So we're in the Pacific Northwest as well. As far as taking the Overland series out west, Aaron and I talked about, I have the benefit of I've done it with the road rallies where I took something that started predominantly in the southern states, and then we've pushed it out west.
Okay.
So one of the things that allowed me to do that was, I think we were talking before the podcast, I used to live and work in Southern California. So I had a lot of connections in the car industry out there just from when I was there before that I could kind of call and touch base with. And, it helps to open doors and get things done to make the experience better for everyone when you're able to do that. And so I envision the Overland events kind of being modeled after that, where we're going to spend a year really getting the brand established in the South. And so far we've done that. Aaron and I put a lot of effort into the marketing and the packaging of this to make it appear like something that people, really want to be part of. And that's in the form of the videos, the media content that we put out there. We want everything to be absolutely top shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see our stuff, it should look like something that you want to do. And we do. We spend the money to get excellent media coverage. And these events are not cheap to organize. My time is valuable. Aaron's time is valuable. And so we try to build events that are going to, I think that they're going to attract the right type of people that see you in what they're paying for. If you want the cheapest event, this isn't for you. If you're the type of person who's going to say, well, I can do all that on my own, it's like, that's great. Then go do it on your own. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not knocking that at all. But if you want an experience that is going to be truly unique, then our events are something that you should look at. And we'll go into kind of what makes them that way a little bit later. But our plan for moving out west is to spend this year getting established in the South. And
by South, so we talked about it a little bit before we started. Sorry to cut you off, but you guys are based in Arkansas right now. So you're talking about the southern United States.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And our road rally events kind of take place, everywhere from Texas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Tennessee. Everywhere. Just think kind of Southeast or just South in general, we're here. But the Adventure Series events so far have taken place in the Ozark National Forest, the Mark Twain National Forest, the Ouachita, so pretty much Missouri and Arkansas.
Okay.
And after we spend this year kind of really establishing that brand, getting the right sponsors on board that we want. And so far we've been able to do that really quickly. And I think that's because of the success we've already had on the road rally side. Our people are at least familiar with our brand and the type of experiences that we give people. So that has certainly helped. But I think spreading those events and moving out west lends a little bit more credibility to it, and it provides our participants with a really unique experience that they're going to remember the rest of their lives. It's getting out of what they can do in their backyard and just offering them something different. And that's what we're about. We have a wonderful community of people that does these events, and so it's really about just giving them opportunities to enjoy their vehicles and enjoy this lifestyle in a new way. And so that's kind of our plan. We're planning at Silverton, Ouray, that area, hitting kind of some of the bucket list trails out there, and then taking the experience that we've built for what we've basically already done here in the southern states out west. Yeah. So that's our game plan, at least, and it's looking good. We're in the process now of working with the BLM and getting all the appropriate permits and all that stuff that's needed. But the event's happening. The Adventure Series Colorado will take place in September of next year. So we have some time. We're going to do some groundwork, get our homework done, and have everything ready to go, pricing finalized, and we're going to announce and open that event for registration in September of this year.
And how do you guys pick which trails, which parks, which areas you're going to go to?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's a lot to be said, and Scott can add to this, but the big thing is that Scott hit on something a second ago. Like, you want to be able to provide an experience where people aren't just coming to someplace in their backyard, right? Something they can frequent. And I think that's one of the cool things about being in the South and being in the state of Arkansas is that we have two beautiful national forests in our state. And there are a lot of people that are not familiar with Arkansas for the beauty that it is.
No, so not familiar with Arkansas for anything.
There you go.
Razorbacks, the Arkansas Razorbacks. That's the only thing I know about Arkansas.
Oh, let's not talk about that right now. There are going to be people that are going to want to come into this event to be able to experience something that they've never seen before. And I think a lot of the work that I've been doing as I've been planning these routes and things like that is I'm going out on most of my days off to go and experience this stuff to see what's going to be the truly unique things that people are going to want to identify with and say, I've seen that on Instagram. Like, I want to go there. I want to experience that myself. I don't want to just live through a photo of it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the really cool things is that we're trying to highlight those places that are not easy to get to. But they're worth the time. They're worth the journey to get there. And I think that's going to be one of the things that we're definitely going to capitalize not only in Arkansas, but in the other states that we venture out to, out west with Colorado, Moab, all those places. But like Scott alluded to, the important part is that we're taking those partnerships with BLM and the National Forest Service to do things above reproach.
Not to jump in really quick, but the more often you go out wheeling and different trails you explore, you kind of find those scenic things. Sometimes they come out of nowhere is basically what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Jose and I went out just before the COVID thing broke out, and we did El
Mirage.
El Mirage, and there's like a little mountain range with really rocky, sharp hill climbs. And we got to the top, and it was like a really picturesque view of the lake bed, and the mountains in the background with snow. And it was like, dude, you never would have thought, like, being in the high desert, that you'd see something cool like that. But we're persistent. We're always looking to four wheel whenever we can. So that kind of stuff happens. If you just got to get out there and do it.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I think that's the best excuse in the world. But honey, I'm doing some scouting this weekend for its work. I have to go look.
I got to go to some strip club in Oregon still. I had to plan that out. That's from 2 weeks ago. But I'll make it happen eventually. Still thinking about it.
I think we got a voicemail about the strip club in Oregon. So the side there, guys, is there was an article about a drive-through strip club where you can get food and the girls wear masks. So it's in Oregon. We're trying to get one of our listeners from Oregon to go and take some video.
Nice. Do they serve truly there too?
Food?
Yeah, of the food. I want to see what the wings are like.
Yeah.
Sample the food.
So on your street rally series, you talked about having.
Guys, please don't eat that food. Just stay away from that place. I don't want to be liable. I'm not telling you to do that.
On the street rally stuff, you guys talked about 50 vehicles or so. What's what do you think's the range on the adventure series?
Yeah, it really depends on which event. Like when you're talking about the traditional events that we do, we've been seeing 50 to 55 vehicles. Which is a lot to manage on as such a long journey as this one can be. But I think it's proven to be fun. And, once we get to the off-road parks are really our destination. It's really awesome experience to be able to have that many people around, see so many really cool built rigs, and not built rigs, similar to mine was during the first event. Because it gives them the opportunity to kind of highlight the things that other people really love about their vehicle and gives you ideas about what you want to do. For our overland events, we've been limiting to 15. I think that's a really good number. It can be difficult sometimes on some of the trails that we do because they're really tight and can be technical. And, that it takes a little bit of time to get 15 vehicles through some really difficult terrain, But I think that there's a lot to be said about the camaraderie that's had with that size of a group. Some people are coming out by themselves. Some people are coming out just with their significant other. Some people are coming out with their entire family. And so it provides this really, really cool dynamic throughout the day for people that are new to this or some people that are super seasoned to be able to participate and show all of their different experiences. And talk through those, especially once we hit around the campfire and everybody's just kind of relaxing while we're preparing dinner and stuff. It's so cool to hear about, the highlights that each one of them took away from the day and what were their favorite parts. And I think that we found that that's a really good, solid number that's manageable. And doesn't take away from the experience.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
How do you guys handle U-turns with that many people? Like, is there a special sign? Well, I'm asking because I really want to know.
Will you get censored on YouTube if you flip someone off? Can you flip someone off?
They're professionals. They don't have to do U-turns.
They don't do U-turns?
Thank you, Jose. I was about to say, who does U-turns?
I do. I do everywhere we go. Every time we go out, they put me in front. I make U-turns.
Cody got lost on the way home from work today. He did.
I worked from home, and I kind of got turned around.
He works from home.
Yeah.
The punchlines write themselves.
So one of the things that I think is interesting is, and forgive me if this sounds ignorant to the road rallies. I would think that the road rally, if you're someone that's got a rally car, and you're going to go from this hotel in Vegas to this place and whatever. There's not a lot of intimidation factor, right? I mean, I'm going to make the assumption that everybody's driving the speed limit, and even though it's like windy roads and stuff, I would think the intimidation factor there is low. Whereas the off-road world, especially some of the people like Aaron that came out for the first time right after he bought a stock off-road vehicle, there's a very different dynamic there in people that are being that feel intimidated or unsure or unexperienced or unable to navigate an obstacle. And it sounds like the environment you guys are creating is welcoming to those people so that they can experience this without the fear of being that one guy on the trail.
Yeah, so I'll speak to it a little bit from my perspective, and then I'll let Aaron touch on it because he's the perfect example of what I hope it's like for everyone. So the main focus on the Adventure Series events was approachability for people that maybe they have a 4Runner that they've got an Icon suspension on, or maybe they have a Jeep that they've done some work to, They've just never actually taken it on anything more than a dirt road.
Mm-hmm.
So we wanted to create an environment where those people felt like they could come on this event and learn or experience their vehicle in a welcoming, encouraging place. So we accomplished that by a few different ways. First of all, we package and plan the event itself so that it's not too far of a stretch if you have a mildly modified or stock vehicle. So I'll kind of go into a quick rundown of what the traditional adventure series is like. It's very different than the overland event. So the traditional adventure series event's 2 days, 1 night.
Okay.
Day 1 is spent taking a network of forest roads and county roads from point A to point B. Typically, we will have a lunch stop in there that's at a small town cafe or something unique that's just a cool spot to have lunch. And then we end at a hotel. Stay in a 3 or 4 star hotel, so people can show up, have a bed to sleep in. It is easier to convince a wife or your kids to come with you if there's some type of familiarity to it.
Mm-hmm.
That goes a long way if you're a guy and you're trying to convince your wife to come on this. I mean, and there are people out there that will be like, oh, well, that's not real off-roading. Like, it's real off-roading for who? That's not up to them to decide.
Yeah, we have a very broad viewpoint of that. Off-roading is whatever you want off-roading to be. I mean, it's
right?
Yeah, it's all perspective in so many ways.
Yep. And so basically the event is set up where day 1 is spent on very, very mild trails. And you could say it's dirt roads, but where we are, it's very scenic dirt roads.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're someone who's brand new to this and you've never aired down your tires, you have never, really seen what your vehicle can do, you're going to spend all day on day 1 driving really mild, non-technical trails, getting from point A to point B. And when you get to point B, your vehicle is going to be covered in dust, in mud. It's going to look cool. Like it is photo worthy for you to share.
Hey, if you're riding with me, there's probably going to be parts hanging off of it,
tree branches.
You're going to be thankful you got there. Like, God, can we just stop for a while?
Jose has a tendency to pick up branches on the side of the road.
Oh yeah,
yeah. But that's day 1. Night 1. We have a planned group dinner for everyone where people are just hanging out, get to know each other, share a meal, share some drinks. The next morning we get up and we go to an off-road park. The off-road park is a short drive from the hotel. I mean, less than 30 minutes. And there we break people up into groups depending on the type of vehicle they have and then depending on their comfort or skill level. We also have spotters and guides for every group, so that people are getting the instruction and the positive reinforcement that they need. People are there to help you air down, to explain why you need to air down, to show you how to do it, and then to help you air back up afterward when the event's over.
Yeah.
And if you create the environment with the right people who they want to teach people to do this the right way. And we've just been really fortunate with a group of guys that have been doing this for decades. They just really enjoy teaching people and having new people come into their hobby. And so the combination of those two things, at the end of the weekend, you have people who have never done this before that come away with an experience with their vehicle that they are completely stoked about. And they have a community of 50 to 100 people that they've gone through this experience together and there's a connection with.
And then you convince them to come and start doing work for you.
There you go.
Yeah. I'll say this. In 5 years of doing these events, I have had 50 people in earnest come to me and say, hey man, I really want to help. I really want to be involved. And then after they get a glimpse behind the curtain on the amount of effort and work that goes into making this happen, it's usually they flake out. Like, so I'm very hesitant on, assigning responsibility or giving people things to do, because at the end of the day, it has to get done, or it's on my shoulders. I mean, it's my responsibility. Aaron from day one just like jumped in and did it. And so as this has grown, it went from Aaron is a guy that helps me with these events a great deal and really just takes care of things to, well, now through Aaron's kind of embracing of the overland lifestyle, he saw an opportunity for us to do an overland event that was a little bit different than what we were already doing. And so last summer, he and I had that discussion. It was, hey, man, I know what we're doing with these Adventure Series events, and that's awesome, and that's great. But, what if we did something that was more focused on overlanding? And so it wasn't my idea. It was Aaron and another one of our friends' idea, but he was really the driving force behind really wanting to do this. And so we spent some time talking about it, and one thing led to another, and now we're at a point where it's kind of under the Express Rally umbrella, but Aaron and I are partners in these overland events. So it's gone from him being an acquaintance and a friend of mine that did an event to now we're figuring this out. We're planning these events and we're doing this stuff together, and it's awesome. It's a lot of fun, and I couldn't ask for anything more as far as someone helping me. So it's been great, but you have a completely different experience in those traditional Adventure Series events, really aimed at first timers or people that are just getting into it.
Yeah.
Or guys that are experienced, but hey, if I tell my wife I want you to come with me, but I can say that there's a hotel involved and there's going to be dinner and they'll probably do it. And we have a healthy mixture of people who are doing this for the first time. And then we have guys that are in the woods like 2-3 weekends a year with their buddies that are bringing their wife on our normal events just because they're getting to share that experience with them.
Yeah.
So it's completely different than the overland events, but I think it's a great introduction for a lot of people.
Well, and those Adventure Series are those happening in the South as well? Have you expanded those out west at all?
I think we're going to keep those predominantly in the South. The logistics and finding trails and hotels and things like that it's challenging, and it's harder to do when you're further away. I'm not opposed to it, but I think where we are really focusing our growth is going to be the overland events, and it's just a really hot area right now. I mean, everyone is getting into it in some form or another. It's really popular, and but it's understandable why. It's great quality time you're getting to spend with your family or with your friends, and honestly, I've really enjoyed it. When Aaron and I have gone out on kind of our scouting runs, man, I've treasured those weekends away, just disconnecting from everything. And it's been good time for us to talk about stuff and kind of figure out where we want this to go. So I feel like the timing is right, and we're fortunate that we kind of have a history behind us of organizing, good events for people, that it's kind of helped us be able to launch and jump into that, and use some of the sponsors that we've developed, like Icon and Falcon Tires and Baja Design and some of those bigger companies that it lends credibility to what we're doing, and it kind of allows us to get out there and spread the word about what we're doing a bit faster. But it's been a fun ride, and we're just excited about those events and trying to grow them.
So I got a question. I think you hit on something earlier, especially as far as the overlanding and people taking their vehicle maybe out for the first time. They're really not aware of the capability. And that's really, especially the first time out, when you do something, you're thinking, there is no way, I don't know how I'm going to make it up this or down or over or around something crazy, seemingly crazy. And then they do it, and now they have the bug. With that being said, what's the craziest vehicle? Is there something somebody showed up in and you just went, no, man, you can't. No. I don't know if you're going to make it through this trail. Has anything crazy like that occurred?
Ford Ranger.
Yeah, they didn't think it was going to make it through the trail.
So I will say that as we were preparing for our Adventure Series Overland event, Scott and I went over the list of vehicles over and over and over again, and we've had a longtime supporter of ours that has been on road rallies and jumped into our traditional Adventure Series events. He's got a Porsche Cayenne, and I mean it's a very capable vehicle. Honestly, like it's triple locked. But he hasn't done a whole lot of modifications outside of that. And so, we kept looking at the weather and, I kept thinking about the trail systems that we were going to be on. And, I don't know how familiar you guys are with our trail systems, but we've got a significant amount of water crossings in the Ozarks. And they can go into flash flood stage very quickly. Which, I mean, let's be honest, like what overlander or off-roader doesn't enjoy water crossing, right?
People with Jeep Wranglers.
And so
people with Jeeps.
People with Jeeps. Don't get your Wrangler wet.
I think Scott and I both know a few Jeep drivers that have flooded and stalled out their vehicles in water crossing. But with that being said, we did have to make a judgment call with that conversation around, like, we're really concerned with the capability of the vehicle. And he did decide to go ahead and offer up his spot to somebody else because we had a waiting list. And while we absolutely hated that he couldn't come, because he really is like one of the lives of the parties when he comes. I also, when I came back into Cellular Network, saw that he had bought a 5-inch lift to go for our next event. So like he's already like looking at how he can modify this vehicle so that he's going to be there for the next thing. But I mean, it was a conversation of like, hey, so what's Porsche say your water fording depth is? We started talking about actual specs of the vehicle, and I think that was important. That like Scott said, we want everybody to have an amazing time. We also want everybody to be safe. While we will absolutely go through spotting techniques with people and have people get out of their vehicle and walk lines with them, there are certain things that your vehicle does need to be equipped with for an overland event. Unfortunately, that one just wasn't quite there yet. And I have no doubt in my mind, literally within the next couple of weeks, it's going to be ready to go out and rock and roll. And I can't wait to see this thing on a gnarly lift with some crazy tires.
Yeah, I would be really interested to see how that thing does. I mean, because those things are built for speed. I mean, obviously there's performance there, right? I mean, it's a Porsche. They've got all kinds of performance, but street performance, as you guys know, is not exactly the same as off-road performance. And I'd be really curious to see how that Porsche with a lift and some tires compares on the trail with some of the other vehicles.
Yeah, but
we'll let you know in October.
I was gonna say we'll get you some photos and videos come this fall. We'll send it over to you. It's gonna be sick.
No, I've talked to Cody about this, where we've talked about how guys that modify their street cars are very similar to guys that modify their off-road cars. I mean, you're buying the same components. I mean, when you want to upgrade your shocks, you're buying coilovers. I mean, you're trying to lower the car on on a street car, you're trying to raise it, but I mean. Drag racers use lockers. I mean, they use lockers in the rear to hook up. I mean, we use lockers off road. I mean, it's crazy. The similarities, you buy all the same parts. It's just different purpose.
Yeah, different application. I want to go back a little bit to, you talked about the growth of the Overland series. What kind of things, I mean, from my perspective, the growth that you guys had on the street side and the support you already have from big name sponsors and partners is fantastic. I mean, what possible obstacles are there in the way of taking that Overland series to the next level? What kind of things do you guys still feel like you need to overcome, or what challenges are out there in front of you to get this thing going to where you want it to be?
I think for me, it's just, while we have an established brand already, there are a ton of people in the overland world that have never heard of us at all. So A lot of that is just developing a relationship or a rapport with those individuals, whether that's by how they interact with us on seeing our content, or their expectation for what an event is. Something Aaron and I have spent a lot of time talking about is what are the expectations? Like, how are we adding value for someone who may spend 2 or 3 weekends a month in the woods? Like, why would they pay us to do an event when they're already doing this? So we've really had to take a step back and focus on what can we do to make Express Rally overland events different from what people are already doing, or different from other events, or just guys that are getting their buddies together and going for a trail ride. Mm-hmm. So we've had to find different ways of kind of adding value onto that. And one of the things I didn't mention before was on all of the Express Rally events, we have just absolute top-notch media coverage. I mean, it's not my buddy with a camera. Like, we pay these guys. They're very good at their job. They love it. And I happen to be very good friends with them. But, they're professionals. And having that really well-shot media content that all of the participants and all of the sponsors have access to is something that separates you from going out with your buddies one weekend.
Yeah.
You're going to walk away with tons of excellent photos of your vehicle. You're going to walk away with, with the video that just kind of really commemorates what's happened that weekend. And then with the overland events, like we're providing all of the food. So Outback Steakhouse is one of our sponsors here locally. One of the guys that owns a restaurant participates in our events and is just an awesome guy. I was like, man, why don't you let me take care of the food? So
okay,
we literally people.
Yeah. I'll take 2 blooming onions.
And the funny thing is, you're not far off from the mark. Like, a month before the event, we send out a menu to all the participants, and they're choosing between pork loin, salmon, chicken, steak, veggies, all this stuff, and it's all cooked every night for you.
That's some BS, dude. That's some BS because on our events, you look at wait a minute, hold on.
Sponsoring Mojave in a couple of weeks. Who do we?
No. So look, on our event, here's your choices. Here's your menu, people. You can have Pop-Tarts. You can have Pop-Tarts, peanut butter and jelly, or something else. But you got to buy it yourself. I'm not cooking. I'm not cooking a damn thing.
It's whatever you bring.
Pop-Tarts.
Yeah, we're gonna have hot dogs and mac and cheese tonight.
Yes,
you guys enjoy.
Chili cheese
if you
Fritos.
Want the gourmet version, we'll put a little Miss Dash on it for you. Something like that.
There you go.
Chili cheese. No, chili cheese Fritos are my camping go-to. So like if you as long as there's a bathroom around.
In my tent, I guarantee you.
Yeah, dude, no way.
Yeah, the main bullet points of the overland event are it's pretty much a completely curated experience for you. So you show up, we have an excellent route planned, and these events are 3 days and 2 nights, so they're a little bit longer. We have a killer route plan that's going to take you through some of the most scenic spots in whatever area we're traveling through. Media coverage all weekend. Your food is going to be prepared with you, and it's good food. It's excellent. You get swag, of course, whether it's t-shirts, stickers, packet, is all that stuff. But the idea is you just show up and enjoy the weekend. And even if you're someone who does this, 2 or 3 weekends a month with your family or with your friends, occasionally it is nice to just have to leave work and show up with your rig fueled up and ready to go and just let us take care of everything. Or if you are sort of new to it and maybe you don't have all the gear that you need for cooking or any of that, but you have a tent, you're building your rig, this is an opportunity for you to come out and really experience that lifestyle in an environment that's really welcoming and encouraging for people. And we're doing a lot of that work for you. It's not because you can't do it. It's just because maybe a couple
I
weekends.
don't want to. I just don't want to. I agree.
Yeah.
Preach.
Yeah.
Go on.
Aaron can speak to that because he does. Aaron spends a ton of time in the woods, whether it's just with his wife and daughter or kind of doing scouting runs for our events. Like this is a big part of his lifestyle. He spends a ton of time doing it, and man, sometimes it's nice to just not have to do it.
Maybe he gets into a fight with his wife and he's kicked out of the house, and he has to all right, dude, you're living in the woods for a while. I understand. I understand that completely.
I think, Matt, the good thing is that while we can say it's an excuse for me to get out of the house, I'm sure that she gets a much needed break from me as well.
That's exactly. Hold on. That's my relationship.
Yes.
Oh, you're going to take the kids? You're going to be gone a weekend? Bye.
Yeah,
Just 2 days?
Matt is married to my sister.
2 days.
Matt is married to my sister, and she gets excited when we plan a trip because she's like, "Sweet,
That's right.
Matt and the boys are gone. I got the PlayStation to myself for the weekend."
Hey, maybe you guys should do South America this time. Just see if you can make it like the ex-overland guys.
Let's play a game. How long can you guys stay out out in the bush?
Exactly. Hey, look, I found some trails for you. It's like Canada.
Yeah.
Like across Canada. All right, thanks, honey.
That's funny.
I think the overlying theme of all these things, like your rally series and all these events that go on throughout the country, is that it's like there's a group the group dynamic is what brings everyone to these events. It's like, yes, people can go out and do these on their own, but it's not as fun as if you do it with like 10 people that have the same mindset as you and that experienced those experiences with you. I mean, you want to share stories about your rigs, or you want to talk about like that gnarly obstacle that everyone went over. Like it's that group. It's like that group or that tribe mentality that everybody like. That's exactly why. That's how I ended up with Trailchasers. Like
you showed up. You were super sexy. We were like, we got to get this guy on the show. Like we need some more talent on the show. I think the other thing about
he exudes
Big Brown
confidence. I don't know, whatever,
dude.
I think the other
whatever
thing
you want to call it, man.
The other thing is, you touched on how there are some guys that go out and do this stuff on the weekends with their buddies all the time, right? But it's a very different thing. I think you probably get a very different dynamic when it's a bigger event, when it's a new experience. It's not going to hit the same trails you've hit a bunch of times with your buddies. This is your guys' events are big. They're what's the word I'm looking for? Like not pinnacle, but like, there's something specific and special about it, not just going wheeling with your buddies for the weekend, I think. And that changes the dynamic of the off-road adventure.
Yeah, we aim at kind of a highly organized, well executed bucket list experience for people. And a lot of that takes
We're
shape.
the complete opposite.
A lot of that takes place with the planning that goes in ahead of time. And, Aaron and I spend a ton of time making sure that it comes across that way to people and that it's something that people really look forward to. And I'll let Aaron speak. We just had an event last week, and I'll let Aaron kind of speak to just the aura of the weekend and people's expectations of actually being there.
Yeah. I think that the really cool thing is like we've already mentioned, like you're going to have a very different dynamic. You're going to have people that have been doing this for years. You're going to have people that have been doing this for never. It's their first experience to go overlanding. Maybe they just bought a tent, or maybe they're still trying to figure out if they're going to do a rooftop tent or a ground tent. So they're sleeping out of their rig. There's very, very different walks of life that all enter this event. But I think the really, really cool thing is there's literally on each day, there is something for every single person to be excited about.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I frequently ask the media team as we're coming up on a spot and we're getting them in place, is what's the look on their face when they go through that obstacle or when they go through that water crossing or whatever it is. And it's the look of a kid on Christmas morning, like it's that sense of excitement and joy as they're going through something that one they've never done before, or they didn't think that they were going to get through, and they're like had that oh shit butt fucker moment, you know. Like there's that moment that we've all experienced, and then coming out on the other side, you're like, dear God, did somebody get that on video? Please tell me you got that on video. Like, we've got all of that covered. You don't have to worry about that stuff. Like, I remember the first time that I dropped into this gnarly water crossing with this guy that I met through social media, and I was like, hey, you guys want to go out to the Ozarks? And our schedules just happened to line up, and we're cruising through, and he knew about this spot, and I didn't. And he got to the other side, and he jumped out of his car with his phone, and I was like, what's he doing? And he started taking video, and I literally drop in, and the water comes over my windshield up to my roof, and I've got a 4-inch lip.
Wow!
Like this is a deep water crossing, and I mean it's a short water crossing, but it was hella deep, and for this moment, like I got chills, like just thinking about how exciting and exhilarating that moment was, and that's what our participants experience every single day of the event. And it's something that, you know, like we had a participant that him and his wife have traveled all across the world. They've done tons of international trips, and they had no clue what to expect. And they rated this weekend event in the Ozarks as one of their top 3 experiences they've ever been on together.
Wow.
And for somebody to say that they've internationally traveled, they're adventure seekers, for them to say that experience was one of their top 3 in their life, that's how I know that we're doing the right thing. We're doing the right work. We're creating the right experiences, and we're on the right track.
Yeah. I want to touch base on that, Aaron, on your experience. So 2 years ago, you buy a vehicle. Next thing you know, it's consumed your entire life. And
your money
and so you know so talk to me. So most people they get that experience, that first experience, they ease into the water. You know, they have enough sense to say I'm not gonna go too far. But I mean, it sounds like your journey, just hearing you talk about the trails and a bunch of stuff, it sounds like your journey from complete noob to guy running a trail run has been like an exponential learning curve to get to where you're at now. Talk to me about that. I mean, because there's a lot of people out here that have been doing, you know, wheeling for 10, 12 years, but still haven't had the same experiences that you have. So tell me about your journey and like kind of how you accelerated to that point.
Yeah. I think there's a lot that goes into it. I think my wife can attest that I spend a lot of time into this, whether it's, you know, thinking about what I want to do with my car or what I can go out and do with it by myself. A couple of the main things was that I wanted to make sure that I had my own recovery gear, and that I was going to be self-sufficient. And then that I was going to also be reachable. There's a lot of dead zones in our state. With the places that you get, and it can get really nasty really quick. But more than anything, I wanted my wife to be able to contact me. So I bought a Garmin InReach last year, and I subscribed to that monthly so we can stay in contact when things are when I'm gone. But you know, really it was looking at the map and saying like, where do I want to go? And I would use Gaia Maps. I'm a frequenter of it. I pay for their premium subscription, and I believe in the product. And so, like, I spend a lot of time digging into maps, and then when I go out, I record my own tracks. And so, you know, because I want to make sure that we stay above reproach with all of this, I have our MVUMs downloaded on an iPad mini with me. And before I jump down, heading down the trail, because I'm sure we can all acknowledge those moments of you're driving down, you know, an asphalt road and you see a dirt road on your right and you're like, I wonder where that goes.
Oh yeah.
Like we all have that, right? But before I go start hauling butt down that road, like I'm going to look and make sure it's, you know, it's a legal system. Because we have a brand, we have an image to uphold, and there are a lot of people that want to see us fail. And so it's honestly been literally like Scott was talking about. I spend a lot of my time on my days off. I work retail. And so my days off aren't always on the weekends. So that has been a good thing, is that I get weekdays to go out. And if I can get out with somebody, awesome. If not, I'm going to go out there by myself, and I'm going to go on an adventure. And I'll take one of my dogs with us, and we'll go out and we'll go enjoy the scenery. And I will mark everything. Like I take my time to mark all these things. I'll come across some stuff, and I'm like, man, I really don't know if I should be doing this by myself. But it looks so cool. I'm doing it.
Yes.
I love that.
So I'll go in and do it. And there's been some oh shit moments of like, what was I thinking? Like, what did I get myself into? But then I'll get out of it, and then I'm like, dude, we're putting this on the event. We have to do this.
Wow.
Because I want people to relive those moments, and I think there's a lot to be said for this type of community. And I think that, there are a lot of people that have been doing this for years, and they want to keep it to themselves. But I also believe in shared experiences, and I believe in living those experiences, not just seeing them, and saying like, cool, I'm going to live vicariously through you. Like, no, I want to go and do that stuff too. I want to experience that moment.
Yep.
'Cause I think there's definitely a deeper psychology to the time that we're in right now, where there's constant gratification from looking on Instagram and on Facebook and being able to see these people's experience. It creates this chemical imbalance of like never truly experiencing life. And so, when we got the 4Runner, we got it because we wanted to go and experience our own adventures as a family. I will never take anybody on a trail that I have never done myself that I knew that wasn't going to be safe, And so
I don't have that policy. I don't have that policy. Hey, if anybody wants to follow me, that's their mistake.
You have to approach it a little bit differently when you've got these paying participants.
So let's go back to that.
No, you don't.
Yeah, let's go back to that. You guys, you talked about
Aaron and I out there doing scouting runs. I mean, there are plenty of very poor decisions that get made.
Oh, I'm sure.
And,
I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
I hope so.
That's our mission statement at Trailchasers LLC.
Enjoy our trucks for a reason.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
it's not just there to look pretty in a trade show booth. Like,
No.
it's got damage, and
Well,
that damage.
Yeah.
I bought a Frontier. It's not sitting in any trade show booths or anything like that. I don't even know what you're talking
No
about.
one makes product for those
Hell
things.
out of that thing, and it
Yeah.
goes everywhere.
So,
I was gonna say I don't think anybody questioned whether it was pretty or not on the Frontier.
going back to
I'll take that knock.
you had made a comment about how there are some people that want you to fail, and you talked about the community, and in our chat, Joey Mendoza came up with a really good question. He said, have you ever had to deal with someone that's been a knucklehead or caused trouble out on one of your events? Is that ever been a problem for you guys?
We
Yeah,
have never had anyone on one of the events that has been a real pain. I take that back. I've had one person who,
And his name is Aaron.
Aaron doesn't count.
they were upset because they felt we did not communicate appropriately where the event began and ended, and the schedule, all of which was provided to them in numerous formats ahead of time. The issue was they just didn't read anything I sent them.
That sounds like that sounds like Matt. That sounds like I get that from Matt.
Talking about off-roading and reading, they don't go together. Off-roading and beer drinking, yeah. Off-roading and storytelling, yeah. Off-roads and campfires, sure. Off-roading and reading? Stop it.
Yeah. I've always been a fan of listening to feedback, and we do. We want the feedback, and we always try to implement that, make the events better. But like anything, if you're dealing with 100 people, you're probably going to have one or two who are just freaking retards. So you're not going to
I deal with 3, and my odds are considerably better.
But for the most part, everyone that spends the money to do our events, they're awesome people. And our issues, we have had some issues with people inside the overland community that have a problem with us charging people money to do what they do every weekend. And my response to them is just, then don't do it.
Yeah.
It's simple. Yeah. Don't participate.
Well, and they are allowed to have an opinion about our events, and I'm allowed to not give a shit about their opinion about our and we sell out every single event that we open.
Yeah.
And that's all I care about. And for the people who are paying to do the events, we want them to have the best experience that they possibly can. And that's what Aaron and I are focused on. We're far too busy to listen to or deal with people that have an issue with what we're doing. If you don't like it, great. That's 100% okay with me. You can continue doing what you're doing, and we can coexist. We can be just fine. These events are not for everyone.
Yeah.
That's all right. But the overland community in general has been awesome to us. They've been extremely welcoming. We have made, Aaron and I have made like quick friends with so many people that are just incredibly helpful, just sharing with routes or knowledge about the area, things that they want to show us that we could use on future events. And overwhelmingly, the community has just been awesome to us. Mm-hmm. And so, I think that our events attract the right kind of people. You're not going to pay us what we ask if you don't want to come and have a good time.
Yeah.
But it just goes back to creating that experience that people want to be part of. And we do. We spend a lot, Aaron and I spend a ton of time just talking about it, how we can make it as good as it can possibly be for people. And for me, the people that sign up and do the events and then they want to do another one, I mean, our retention rate is like 80% of people that have already done one. And the problem is we can't create them fast enough. And I'm okay with that.
Well, if you want to do an event that's more like an off-road escape room to see if you can survive, look, man, just hit me up. We will lead a group. We'll lead a group of high-paying individuals someplace they've never been, with the chance that they'll never get out. I mean, that's our brand. That's what we do.
And we're not sure we're going to get out. So I mean, it's part of the adventure.
If you want to roll the dice, hit us up.
Damage will likely occur.
I feel like Aaron and I just need to plan a little trip out to see you guys. We need to show us around and give us a good time. Maybe we can consume 4 or 5 White Claws, and who knows what will happen for the rest of the night.
I think I'm a Truly guy. I think I'm a Truly guy now.
All variety pack.
No, man, the Truly has more flavor than the White Claw, I think, and it's less bitter. I think that's my new thing.
You don't want Cody drinking 4 or 5 of anything. Like he's liable to pass out thinking like just being bloated from too much diet soda or White Claws. If he drank 2 White Claws in one like sitting, it's over to the next day. But
next thing you know, he's got a straw in the third one.
Yeah, I don't. I made it through this one without feeling it, which is a surprise to me. But yeah, if we get out on the trail, I don't drink much. So if we get out on the trail and I have a cocktail, there's a good chance I'm in the tent by 8:30 and I'm done.
That's because I made you a cocktail, and it's time to put the good time police, the fun police to bed. Here's a cocktail.
Yeah, and what happens every time? Every time this happens, guys, Matt makes me a cocktail. I know I'm about to pass out, so I'll hand Matt and Jose the recorder and say, "Hey, get some audio." I'll wake up in the morning.
No, never do.
I can hear them going at 4:00 in the morning. No recordings of anything. There's no evidence of anything that happened.
It would just be me and Jose giggling the whole time, anyhow. There's no real content. It's just fun. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
It sounds like we just need to come out.
Yes.
I mean, I think it'd be a good time.
I think it would be a good time.
Only if you like fun. I mean, if you like having good times.
Whoa. Matt. You didn't say anything about fun.
Yeah,
please come out with like some kind of conspiracy theory. We'll go a long way.
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
You get that like post midnight, like, all right, we've been drinking cocktails.
Yeah,
And
once
now let's
the
get
beer
into
right
the-
now, and then we're getting to the whiskey or whatever.
no.
Oh, it's over. Let the good times begin.
Oh man! So I have to say that I'm extremely impressed with what you guys are doing and what you've pulled off. And it sounds like, going back to your return rate of 80% or so, that goes a long way with silencing critics. To your point, maybe this isn't for everybody. If you're not into it, then don't participate. Cool. We put out a show every week that there's a lot of people don't want to listen to. Don't listen to it. Cool. But we have a really good community around the show that we enjoy hanging out with. And I think for what you guys are doing, you're providing a service. And if there's people out there that want that type of service, man, I wish you guys continued growth and success. And if there's anything we can do to help that,
you guys sold me on Outback. Like Outback, wait, how? I am still marveling. Like, how does that work?
He's like, I can get a surf and turf out in the woods.
Yeah. Oh, you're blowing my mind right there.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna edit. I'm gonna edit all that. I'm gonna edit all that out.
You guys, the food was phenomenal. Like we had 10-ounce steak medallion skewers and pork skewers
right,
and vegetable skewers
Please
on night one.
Nope. I'm editing
with Cody's chili cheese Fritos.
I'm gonna chili cheese Fritos, hot dogs, and top ramen in a couple of weeks.
I'm editing all that. I'm editing all the food conversation out so that no one's gonna, because the next trip we're gonna do, I'm gonna get crap for not having Outback Steakhouse.
I want Ruth's Chris.
Here's a 7-Eleven.
Easy.
Here's a 7-Eleven.
To the top.
No.
Very top.
When my contract is up, I'm going to negotiate for Ruth's Chris every time we go wheeling that surf and turf.
No, you're getting
Talk to my agent.
You're getting a pre-made 7-Eleven hoagie that's wrapped up in saran wrap that's got a date on it that's questionable.
Sure,
that's what you're getting.
That gas station sushi.
Yeah.
Hey, check this out. I'll take it. I'll settle for that. That's fine. That's good
The
enough.
expiration date was yesterday.
Yeah, it's a little questionable.
quick.
It's been the sticker's been pulled off. You're not
Always
sure.
Yesterday.
All right, man. Well, guys, look, this has been a really cool conversation. I am really, really interested in seeing what you guys are doing and how that grows towards the West Coast. I want to go get my Ford Focus rally car, and then I'll start coming out on the rally rides with you, the street rides with you. But
Yeah.
how and where do people go to sign up for either the street events or the adventure series or the overland?
Yeah, it is expressrally.com, and then it's Express Rally on Facebook, Express Rally on Instagram. We do not have an overland event that is currently open for registration. We will have 2 more events in the fall. We're finalizing the permitting process and all that stuff now. But we have roughly an email list of 120 people, and there are 15 spots in each of those events. So likely what will happen is we send an email out to people, and those events will go live on the website at a predetermined time that we communicate to people, and they literally fill up in like half an hour. Like they're completely sold out.
Wow.
So, if you want to be on that email list, you can send an email to expressrally@gmail.com and just tell us that you want to be on the overland email list. Or you can send us a message on any of our social media platforms, and Aaron and I will see it and we will get you added. I do tell people, I'm like, look, when we communicate to people, we'll send an email a month in advance sharing when it's going to open, and then a week in advance when it's going to open. And I tell you the specific time, and when it's open, it's open, and when it's full, it's full. So,
Yeah, I mean, you do due diligence to let people know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to over communicate that. Communication is a huge deal with us. But when it's full, it's full. And, we try our best to do more events, but we have to do them the right way. And so we can't just create 10 of them. We want to make sure the experience is what people expect, and that it's something that Aaron and I feel really good about. So that goes into it. And I'd say just, follow us. We post content frequently. We're going to have the full video from our overland event coming out in the next 2 to 3 weeks. There are 490 photos from the event that we did last weekend that are on our Facebook page. So you can go there and see that album just to kind of get a feel for the quality of content that we put out. There's a 30-second teaser video. There's a promotional video from a previous overland event that we did. So you can just kind of see what kind of stuff you're going to get there. We do have a traditional adventure series event that is currently scheduled for June. We are having to look and see if we're going to have to move that to August, just because a large portion of that event is tied to restaurants for lunch and for dinner, and many of them are not open and accommodating groups of 100 people. Mm-hmm. So the issue is, do we work around it, or do we, my concern is if we work around it, the experience may not be what we want people to have. So we're going to be making a decision on that this week. But that event does still have some availability. We had some teams back out of that, so there are a handful of spots, whether that's in June or August. But we'll be announcing that this week. Aaron, did I miss anything? Anything else I'm not thinking about?
Nope, you covered it.
Cool. That's it. We're happy to have more people involved, and if anyone has questions about anything whatsoever, ask Jose.
Because Jose does have all the answers to even questions that we haven't asked yet. And all right. Well, guys, seriously, this was great. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for working around your schedule. I'm excited about it. I'm sure we'll have some more conversations in the background because I do want to, offer our services. If you're on your way out here to Southern California, we've gotten lost in a lot of the areas.
You want them to grow, right?
Yeah. Well, my point is we've gotten lost in a lot of places. I could tell you some specific places not to go because it's not a good idea.
We could show you how to get. We can show you how to get to places, but not necessarily get back from those places. Especially in our backyards. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. But no, let's say, so for everybody that's out there, go to expressrally.com, follow them on Instagram, Facebook, all the social media stuff so that you can be aware of the next one that's coming up, because I truly believe that as these events start making their way out to the Southwest, I know for a fact there's a community out here that is looking for those things, that is excited about that kind of thing. And it'd be a great opportunity to grow. So with that, guys, thank you very much. We are going to take a quick break, I think, on the live feed. I'm just going to leave the live feed running, and we'll take a couple-minute break and reset and start the next segment. So, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and you have a great night.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
thanks for coming on.
You're listening to a 4x4 Radio Network podcast.
The Trailchasers podcast is a member of the 4x4 Radio Network. If you want more off-road shenanigans in your ear holes, go to 4x4radionetwork.com to hear episodes of the Jeep Talk Show, the 4x4 podcast, the Center Steer podcast, and On the Trail with Kevin and Scott. Okay, we are back. The Express Rally guys have left. Thank you so much to those guys for coming on. It was a good conversation, and we did talk a little bit after we stopped recording their interview about how I think that we all think that the Southern California, Southwest market would be a great place for them. I think there's a lot of opportunities. So,
definitely.
Yeah. As those opportunities pop up, I'm sure we'll be talking to them more as they start making their way out this way. All right, guys. So we got some listener feedback, couple reviews. Jose, do you want to read the reviews because you found them?
Yeah, we got a couple of new reviews these past couple of days. The first one was from the 8th, from EA Cook 1, and it's titled The OG Trail Chaser. And it reads, my man Cody, what can I say? The OG Trail Chaser. Without him, there would be no podcast. Well, it likely would be called something else like Conspiracy Theories and Aliens. He is what keeps this podcast moving along and track. and on track. Cody is very articulate, easy to listen to, and has excellent interviewing skills. I don't often review anything, but when I do, it's for my kindred spirit, Cody. Thanks, Cody. Thanks, Cody, for keeping up the great work. I think there's 2 other hosts. Can't remember their names, though. Mike and George, maybe?
Evan, that was the
one question,
best.
Cody. How much did you pay this guy?
Evan, that was the best thing I've ever read in my life, dude. I think you were trying to make me feel better, and it worked.
Was that Tammy?
No, that's Evan.
Yeah, was that Tammy?
No, it's Evan. It's my boy. Oh, that was great. That is so great. Thank you, Evan. I appreciate that. Mike and George, they do a good job too.
That was a 5-star review.
All right, you want to do the next one?
Yeah, next one was from 5'9", and it's titled. This one's from the guy named Jeff, titled "My Go-To Podcast," and it reads, "These guys are pure comedy. They have the perfect chemistry for an overland podcast. Even a great mix of vehicles, not just all Wranglers that can't get wet. I look forward to their rig and trail talk every week. Keep up the great work. And Cody, please buy a 2021 Bronco."
I am. I'm talking to my wife about it, man. I'm trying to get her on board with the Bronco. She's due for a vehicle, and I'm trying to get to a point where we could pull that off. Can you imagine, dude? Can you imagine if I had the Ranger and she had the Bronco, and we just we would just tear you guys up.
Sounds like you should hire a mechanic to just follow you around.
So it looks like you're gonna be ASC certified.
Exactly.
Oh, jackasses!
Maybe you could buy a Ford delership or something.
I don't want a dealership.
All the parts you're gonna need.
You're gonna sell parts wholesale now. Ford parts.
We're gonna get our resale license so that I can get a discount on parts. Oh, that's funny. We did get on our YouTube, and going back to the YouTube. So we've been doing the live streaming thing, and there's still some mechanisms to figure out on. The guys from EVGA have given us some good input on ways to make the stream better, and there's a couple things to try to do. And
was some of that advice be more entertaining?
Yes, the first thing was do something worthy.
That sounds like sound advice.
Apparently, I need better lighting because I'm like Batman stream over here.
Yeah. Jose's in the dark. But we're working on doing that, and with these things going live, we did get some comments, and I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, where somebody was saying that they thought they caught the video feed for the first time, and they thought the Frontier guy would look more like Homer Simpson. And so,
right. So this guy, I've decided that you have Tim is your nemesis, who's like constantly on the line, and I love it. And then this is like my guy.
One. Yeah, we're all gonna have one. My guy hasn't shown up yet.
He's like Raider Mutter or something like that.
I forgot to copy his name over, but yes, it's like Mud Raider. Hold on, I'll find it. And he had commented a couple weeks ago that he thought that Matt would look more like the Homer Simpson. Yes. And so after the recent episode, he came up with some more comments that I thought were worthy of a response. Okay. He said, his name is Mud Raider. He said, "Hey, just checking out the Icon catalog, and they have stuff for the Subaru and Cherokee. Does Homer know that?" And then in the Salt in the Wounds, and then he says, "Hey, let him know I'm from Florida. Wasn't born here though, but listening, I would think he's from Florida."
Wow. You know what?
Matt is Florida man.
Insulted, and I got to tell you that one runs. That cuts deep right there.
Oh,
how am I from Florida?
Matt is Florida man. I think that's new. Your new.
All right, look, that's all right. Mutter Raider, right? You guys know I can't stand the Raiders.
I mean, who can? Who can stand? Who wants to?
This guy's like from Florida, and he's a
Raider fan. Either that, or he drives the Mitsubishi Raider. And he's just mad that you've got a Frontier that's more popular than the Raider.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
That sounds good. We'll go with that one
because all two people that drive that Raider.
He does. I just went to his YouTube page. He does have.
No.
Yes, he does. He does have a Mitsubishi Raider. Those things are awesome.
All right. Now I can look down at him appropriately.
No.
All right, sir. Let me look down and pass judgment upon you.
No. Those things were super cool.
But you know what? That's great. I welcome his critiques and anything negative or whatever he wants to say about me. All I'm saying is Tim is like the MVP of clowning so far, and he carries the load when it comes to clowning on Cody, and so that makes me feel a little bit better. You got some work cut out for you, Florida Mutter Raider guy. Keep trying.
Well, I'm totally good with somebody taking the heat for a little bit and giving Tim something to do other than make fun of me.
He's getting involved, and that's good. We ask for this, for please bring. Do you need any advice with any situations that you're getting in? I can help you out there if you want. I'm not saying it's gonna be like positive or any good advice, but we can do that for you. Buy some Nexen tires for sure for that. What is he? It's a Mitsubishi.
It's the Raider? Mitsubishi Raider. When did they?
Can't hurt.
Jose, Encyclopedia Jose. When did they make those?
I think they were like late '80s, early '90s.
And I remember
they were like a Montero, like a two-door Montero. Right?
Yeah, like they were
it's like the Suzuki Samurai's big brother.
Yes, and I remember thinking they were very cool, but I wouldn't buy one because it was called a Raider, and I just couldn't drive a Raider.
Exactly. I also wouldn't drive a 49er or a Giant. For the same reason.
Packers 4x4.
Oh wow! Don't get going on the Packers. There's too many people in the stream right now that are diehard Packer fans. Casey likes the Pack.
But there's a Mitsubishi Raider, and then in that same time period, like Dodge and Mitsubishi, they had that Diamond Star motor collaboration where they made like the Mitsubishi Eclipse, but then Dodge had that same.
Only Jose would know whatever he's about to kick down. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
DSM was pretty big in the U.S. DSM Diamond Star motor.
No? Yeah, absolutely. I remember.
The Dodge Stealth and the
dude, the Dodge Stealth was awesome. I really liked that car.
3000 GT. No, anyways, they had the Mitsubishi Raider, and then Dodge had I forgot what the Dodge one was called, but it was the exact same truck.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it. Okay, so moving forward, do we have any other reviews or comments?
We have some voice. We have voicemails, and again, this is going to be a situation where. I have not listened to these, so let's see. Okay, this I think is the last one. Okay, let's see what we got here. I think this is a robocall. Hold on.
This is a follow-up, and we'd love to hop on the call to discuss some options.
Yep, that was a robocall.
Yes. What options? Wait, hold on. That could be good. What options as Trailchasers were we just presented?
Oh, I don't know. Let's see real quick.
We didn't respond to.
It's usually like we want to talk to you about your warranty
or your student loan or your student loan homeowner's warranty. Let's find out. Let's find out what options we have here real quick. Hold on.
Vinyl windows.
Love to hop on the call to discuss
windows.
some options. Please press 2 to speak to an advisor, 9 for a callback, and to be placed on our do not call list permanently. Please call our toll-free number.
Yeah, he doesn't say what options. I don't know what policy he's talking about there.
So honestly, like, what kind of deals on vinyl windows were we just do we have an option?
No, my favorite ones are the robocalls that are from the IRS and the FBI. Have you gotten?
Yes,
those ones are this is the U.S. government calling.
Yes, every time.
No. It goes. I've gotten it like 3 years in a row. This is the cops. That's what they tell you. This is the cops, and you better call back. Otherwise, we're going to come, and the IRS is going to take. We're going to take your money. the cops.
No, I've gotten this is an important message from the IRS regarding your tax return, something about jail time, to avoid jail time. And every time I try to get to the recording equipment so I can plug in the phone and actually record it and like get on the phone with these people and have the conversation, and it never happens. I can never make it work.
Look, I had a conversation with one of them. Again, it was the person that said the cops are coming, the IRS, yo money or whatever. And I straight at the very beginning, I said, look, I don't have anything better to do. I'm at work right now, and I'm just going to waste your time. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to waste your time. And I got them to actually hang up on me like 12 minutes later.
No.
It really is. Yes. I feel like
that's an accomplishment.
It is a sense of accomplishment. It was pretty amazing.
That's pretty awesome.
There was a scam going on when I used to work at the bank. They were calling elderly people.
Oh, yeah.
And they would tell them that their nephew was just arrested and that like their niece or nephew were just arrested. Don't try to contact them. If you want to get there's a bail.
Don't try and contact them.
Yeah. There's a bail limit. If you want to avoid any prosecution, pay this amount now, and we will let him go. And this old lady came into the bank one day, and she was like, "Hey, I got this call, but they don't want me to call him." And yeah, it was a total scam, dude.
Dude, that's harsh.
Wow,
they wanted like $4,000,
dude. Wicked. People are wicked.
She didn't even like that nephew that much, anyhow. You know,
that would be my first question. Which nephew?
I don't even have a nephew.
Okay,
he's only worth like $400. How about that?
Yeah,
can I give you $400?
I'll give you $250. You tell me what's going to happen. All right, now here's the new voicemail from Roosevelt Lee Roosevelt.
Yo, man, this is Roosevelt Lee Roosevelt. I love your guys' show, man. You guys are funny. You say funny stuff. You do funny things, man. I love your show. Hey, I might not be able to come back for a while. I might be going to see some friends up north. Some friends in the pen, because I might have to go back. So, but I love the show. If I can get to the podcast, I'm going to listen. Thanks, guys. Yo!
So, apparently Roosevelt listening to us from the pen.
Yeah, Roosevelt Lee Roosevelt sounds different this time than he did from his first. Well, I guess there's more context on this voicemail, right?
There is. The first one was too quick to identify. So apparently he's going up north to visit some people in the pen, just in case he has to go back. So
is there like a? I was thinking Canada right there. I got to go up north, and I was thinking, is there pen like a town in Canada? Maybe?
Is he going up north to avoid going to the pen? Like he's trying to skip bail?
No, it looked like he said.
Yes.
It sounded like he was going to go in due time. Like, hey, I'm going to be locked up for a while. I won't be able to call in.
No, I mean that's the people we attract. We're good with that.
There you go.
So now this is kind of
say hello to Spider for me. If you're going up north.
This is another voicemail. It's a minute and a half long, and it's from our buddy Dave in Oregon, and he heard the call. He heard the call. He heard the call to action. So let's see what I have not listened to this. Let's see what Dave has to say.
Oh, damn.
Hey guys, it's Dave from Oregon. Just heard about the Lucky Devil Lounge, or you guys talking about it. I've been aware of such establishments for quite a while. I got to tell you, I am not. Now, I might, but I doubt I'm going to go by and check it out. I kind of know the caliber of both employees and probably food that you would get at the numerous strip clubs around the Portland area. And my guess is you don't want to spend your money on either one of them. I guess you could argue that a naked or half-naked woman is never a bad thing, but I work hard for my money, and I guess some of them work hard for my money too, but I would probably not spend anything on either one of them. I'd probably rather, let's say I have a Jeep Wrangler and I live in Oregon and it rains all the time. I'd probably spend the money on waterproofing material for that. But if you guys really want me to, let me know.
Yes.
And I can go by and do maybe a man on the street trail chasers thing, but you gotta want to wear protective equipment. You probably want to wear some kind of protection even before the COVID-19 hit if you go to the Lucky Devil Lounge, but that's just one man's opinion. Anyway, carry on.
Look at Dave. Look at Dave being willing to take one for the team and go to the Lucky Devil.
All I need is time off and gas money, and I'd do it. I'm all about it. You're like it's a penalty or something. He's already there. He probably drives by this place like 5 times a week, and he's trying to make it seem like it's difficult.
Yeah, he's making it seem like he doesn't know where it's at. He knows exactly where it's at, dude.
Yeah. He's like, Sheila over there. Things were better when Sheila was there. She's not there anymore.
Oh, Dave, you're back.
And you know what, Tim? I did notice he said he works hard for his money. Tim on the chat. Like, I wanted to sing that as soon as he said it.
Do it.
He works hard for his money.
Oh, that is funny. So that's the extent of our voicemail and feedback. All right, are we ready to move on to the topic?
Do we have a topic? What was the topic?
Mojave.
Oh, yeah. All right.
Yeah. Where has Matt has not even looked at the document? It took him 2 minutes.
I just opened it like 5 minutes ago.
Just real quick, I wanted to mention Dave from the Nissan Nation Productions. He dropped a spy photo of the New Frontier. You guys?
Yes. You did send that in text, and I was looking at it. It
looks pretty awesome, dude.
It does. It looks really cool, man.
Anything near what that side shot, it looks pretty damn awesome. It's been like blowing up all over the internet today.
It's like the Blade Runner Frontier or something, like a futuristic, aggressive.
Well, I like it. I like it. It's the grill is very Titan-esque. It's very like that bulky radiator grill is similar to the Titan.
If you Google Titan Warrior, it's a concept truck they put up a few years ago at SEMA. It's like the Raptor. It was like the Titan version.
Oh,
of the Raptor.
Yeah.
If I feel like this one is like the Frontier version of the Warrior concept.
Yeah. I think, was that the year that you and I went, Jose? That Titan Warrior? Did we see that at SEMA?
No, it was before us.
Okay. There was no time before us.
You're right.
Before us.
Hey. You know what? Hey, that new front, if that's the way that's going to be kind of a trip, because it seems like a very large, like husky, looking truck.
It looks like it's purpose built, right? Like it looks like they're going for the jugular on all the trucks that are out right now.
Well, I think, Matt, that's the direction. I mean, look at the Tacoma, the Ranger. Because
the Ranger
bigger.
looks like the sissy truck, like just kind of like a Ridgeline had sex with a I don't know, something either more sissier, like maybe a Kia of some sort. And Nissan's coming out saying, you know what, trucks are masculine, and here's our truck.
Screw you, dude. My truck is very manly. My mom said it was. She said it's a very handsome truck. You should be proud, son.
She still says that?
Yes, she does.
Or did she? Okay. Well, you tell yourself that. But it does seem like a very angular, aggressive, and still like futuristic looking thing.
Well, I wouldn't even call it futuristic. I would say that it's on par with what a truck should look like today. Like, it's a reasonable upgrade, and I think it still carries that Nissan. Like you can tell it's a Nissan, but I think it's a very nice looking vehicle. I'm curious to know what the 4-door will look like, what the specs are going to be, what the price is going to be. I think it'll be awesome.
Yep. So I just wanted to.
Well, I also saw that the pricing is going to shoot way up. They're going to jump back into the the
premium product.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I want to see front lockers. Let's be legit. Let's go after the Gladiator and
the ZR2.
And the ZR2. Like, if you're gonna put something out that looks like that, then it should have the capability to go after the top-notch trucks at that level.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and as far as if that's the power plant, the 9-speed transmission, 310 horse, all right, that's a good start. Put that front locker in there and get after it. You know, put some Nexen tires on that thing, and make it happen, Captain.
Yeah, and I think it will. I think even if Nissan bumped the price up 10, 15 grand, they'll still be below a TRD Pro. They'll still be below the Gladiator, right? I think they have room to grow on the sticker price, and they can still be the most competitive price truck in the class.
Well, they still sell 70,000.
Yeah, they sell a lot of trucks, dude.
Exactly, just the way they are. Just because it's again bang for your buck.
It's an honest truck, dude. Like,
yeah.
But after seeing that, I really want to. So if I buy a truck next year, I want to see what that is for sure.
No, Ranger.
No.
Yeah, no Ranger.
Yeah, no Ranger. Exactly. No Ranger.
No Ranger. Exactly. You know what, Cody? You got the right mindset. And now, obviously, with the experience you've had and whatever you're trying to sell, Jose, I'm not getting the Ranger.
But if Nissan knocks it out of the park with this one, I'm telling you, there's going to be an up spike on the older ones like Matt's, because they're going to be like, dude, this last Frontier was good too.
Yeah. I honestly think that if they do it right, if they market it like we've talked about in the past, and they do the things like they did with the Titan, where they had the media go out and do stuff, I think that there's an option for them to really make a dent in the marketplace, especially if the truck looks like that, because it's very stylish, it's very modern, you're like, wow, that's a cool looking truck, right? So,
but again, I'm clearly I'm not a showy person. I purposely bought a 15-year-old body style because I just wanted confidence, and I wanted to know that I was going to get my money's worth, and I'd be able to kick the shit out of it, for the most part, or at least be aggressive with it. And it had, my Frontiers performed in spades or whatever. I expect that same capability. I expect that same quality with the new drivetrain and anything they do to it. Those are my expectations.
Yeah. I think. Did the post say anything about when it's going to be officially debuted and released?
Dave had he released a video today with another YouTuber talking about what they think it's going to come out. They're talking about maybe end of this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully end of this year.
So
that's just enough time for me to get a sponsorship by Nissan. You guys want me to put it through its paces? I'll say it again. I'll put it every weekend. I'll kick the hell out of that thing too. Let's do it.
So without being sarcastic, so that puts the Bronco, the new Frontier, and isn't there one more truck coming out end of this year? One more off-road vehicle coming out end of this year that is will be competing for Pocketbook. And Ford is going to put all of the marketing, all of the advertisements, all of the everything behind that Bronco. Will that take away from what the Nissan may get?
No, it's two different. I think you're going with a truck or SUV. I think that's two different markets. I think they're pretty distinct for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah, the off-road segment is really booming right now because next year there's rumors that the new Land Cruiser is coming out, and it's going to be cheaper price because right now they're like $90,000.
Good Lord!
Yeah, but the next one's supposed to be off-road focused and cheaper entry point.
Wow!
So it's going back to its roots, just a utility vehicle that does it all. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know what's cheaper. I mean, 60 grand is still a lot of money.
Yeah. Cheaper than 90 grand. There's a lot of room I still can't afford. Like you got to come down to 1/3 of that price to be my price range.
Exactly.
All right. Well, we have talked about it for a couple weeks, and we have confirmed that we are doing the Mojave Trail.
I put up a link on the show notes about Mojave.
About the planning your trip thing. So that
no, just of the Mojave. It's open. So
well, that was part of the thing. Like there was a lot of viewing the BLM website. The trail itself is open. Many of the normal points of interest are not. Fort Paiute, the lava tubes, some of the.
I'm getting those lava tubes.
A lot of.
Were they going to put like a sentry there, like to keep me from going in there?
Yeah.
We're not even going to go there. So we're going to drive right past it. So the
physics.
Well, that pretty much prevents it. I don't know how to get there.
Yeah. So the point is we've decided that we're going to go. We're still fine tuning some of the details, exactly who's going to attend. Tammy and I are having a conversation about whether or not Presley's coming with us, and Matt, I think you're taking the boys. Jose, you're going to be lone wolf it. And we're going to change the trip this year. So
didn't Jose volunteer to take my kids?
No, I didn't.
No, I don't think so.
Last week, I think. Check.
I don't remember that.
Tapes.
Print out the transcript, please.
I don't remember that.
Please get the transcripts.
So the route. So usually we go all the way out to Laughlin and hit the easternmost trailhead, and then work our way back. So we are not going to do that. We're going to come up. This is the current plan. Jose, have you looked at I know Matt hasn't looked at the maps. Jose, have you looked at them? So
yes.
Still trying to figure out how to open up what you sent me.
So we're
first two links would not open up by the way. You expect me to open a third link that's supposedly going to work? All right, fool me once, whatever, twice. I'm an idiot. Third time, F you.
Yes,
how about that?
Yes, it does not. You're not going to open a link anyways. So the plan is we're going to do about 30 miles on dirt. The plan is to get to the trailhead around noon on Saturday, do 35 miles on dirt the first day, get to the campsite. The second day is about 65 miles on dirt to the second campsite. And then day 3 will be basically packing up and driving the 8 miles to the freeway and heading out. I have marked out, because we're taking a little bit different route for those of you that have joined us in the past. We're gonna hit a bunch of different abandoned sites and different camp locations and some of the normal ones, but I think this is going to be a very different trip than what we've done multiple times in the past, and I'm kind of excited about that. Thoughts, guys, on that current plan?
I don't really think we're coming in off of Goff or Goss or whatever, right?
Yeah,
south.
Yeah, coming in from
the 40
from the south, heading north. Because if we come in at the normal trailhead over by state line, I know there's that one area that we've talked about that we really liked, but there's only 2 points of interest there. It's Balancing Rock and Fort Paiute. Fort Paiute's closed. We can't get to it, and we're not going to drive up.
I got another variable for you.
Okay,
is there gas when we enter the trail in Goss or whatever?
Effort. Read the dag blurn email, you dirty yes. I sent it.
You know what? The listeners don't know that. I'm asking.
No, you're not asking for them. You liar. You lying sack of poop. You were asking, but you didn't read the email.
How dare you? How dare you accuse me of being a lying sack of poop?
You You just got caught.
You
dude.
got caught.
Okay.
Yes, there's a gas station on the way there. That's why I chose.
I already said I didn't open the email. I don't know why you're so upset.
I chose that spot specifically because there was gas.
God, do they sell hot dogs like on a rotisserie at that gas station?
I don't
hope so.
know. So, I swear to God. Okay, Jose.
He's so mad. He's really mad. Oh, he stumbled and he started stuttering. Oh, that's great.
Because
I won tonight.
Because you're not going. We're changing the weekend, and we're not going to tell you.
Tim, I got you tonight.
We're gonna go to someplace different, and we're not going to tell you. We're just going to be. You're going to show up ready to go to Mojave.
I'll still have a great time. I will still have a great time.
Even Joe in the live feed says, "Read the email." So the So that's the basic plan. I mean, there's still some stuff to finalize. We still have some questions around what the world will look like as far as quarantine and COVID and all that stuff. And you know, the goal is to have a good time and still be respectful of people's health and safety. And I think we can do that. This trip is always a good time. It is, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of scenic opportunities out there. So here's what we've done. So we have decided to keep the trip to a minimum. And as far as vehicles are concerned, we think 15 is our number. And we've already got quite a few of confirmed participants. They, there's some people we had to invite to be part of this, either because of that in the past, or we've got some friends of the show.
Like me and Jose, you had to invite us.
Man, I would. You know what? Jose's welcome. I don't think I want you to come anymore. I don't.
Oh no!
Why don't you stay home? Monty and the boys will
What if
go.
I followed you guys? What if I just followed you and then I just waited for you guys to do U-turns and stuff because I knew where they were coming and I didn't tell you. I just watched
it's not.
video.
It wouldn't be hard to. It wouldn't be hard to find us. It's just the big dust of the cloud of dust going in circles. That's us. Follow me.
Yeah.
So we are
vultures.
So we're still waiting on a couple of invites for some of the sponsors of this show. We're waiting to get their feedback. And I am
Outback? Is Outback
no.
going to sponsor this trip?
No.
Yeah. Sponsored by Outback. Get your blooming onions on the Mojave Trail.
Hey, you got 2 weeks to get Roots Chris involved with this.
I'm not getting anybody, dude. I'm good with chili cheese Fritos. Pop-Tarts for breakfast.
No.
Look at this.
That's not Roots Chris.
Look at this.
You been to Roots Chris?
Dude, look at this physique.
Delicious.
This physique is all about. Yes. You don't get this is a finely tuned product with proper ingredients.
You need to find a new mechanic because that tune-up is busted up. They're using the wrong parts.
They've been using the wrong parts in my body from day one. That's why most of them have been surgically repaired at this point. And they're still pulling parts out of my body that I don't that are bad.
You don't need them.
I hope not. It makes me lighter. I got a little bit lighter. So the which Tim noticed my which cup. The plan is to leave on the 23rd, come back on the 25th. Now, for those of you asking the question about going, if you're listening to the live feed, you've got a leg up because we just put up a registration form at trailchasers.net/Mojave. If you go to trailchasers.net/Mojave, you can register for this trip.
Can we set up like a Thunderdome scenario where they battle for spots?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We'll do it at Cleghorn and we'll take them on that spot you got stuck at.
To see who makes it.
Make it through. If they make it through, they lead Mojave. They lead the trip. Ooh, that's a good idea.
No, I'm not down with that. Mojave is a mellow, family friendly trip. It's an opportunity for us to really connect with nature and our brethren in off-roading. So my point is, if you go to trailchasers.net/Mojave, you can register for the trip. What we're going to do is in the next I mean, this trip is coming up. How many days now? I mean, this is happening quick. This is like
tomorrow. Can it be tomorrow? I just want to go.
I wish.
Can we just go tomorrow,
dude? I wish. But we're looking at one and a half weeks. Yeah. 2 weeks from today is the trip, the coming home trip. So we're leaving in 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days. So I'm going to reach back out to a couple people that have been invited that I knew wanted to go to get their feedback. If they don't have feedback in the next couple days, what we're going to do is start taking people off of the registration list, and it's going to be first come, first serve. As you know, people that register, hey, here's a spot open. There's some guidelines around the trip,
just like Outback, first come, first serve.
I don't know that's where we were going with that, but
what about Langers? No.
What about what?
Oh, Langers downtown?
Yeah, instead of Ruth Chris.
Langers?
Oh, yeah. Langers Deli? Yeah, they have like the greatest pastrami in the United States.
I'll reach out. There's a sandwich shop called Campitelli's in Brea that's super good. Super, super good sandwich shop. Maybe we'll go there. So anyways, registration at trailchasers.net/Mojave. There's a registration form up there with some of the details. We do expect that people are considerate of the COVID-19 coronavirus stuff that's going on in the world. So keep that in mind. And then all you need to do is put in your email address, your first, last name, phone number, whether or not you're going, and a couple other pieces of information. And that'll put you on the registration list. That registration list, like I said, I will reach out to people and let them know if and when spots become available, so that people can participate. I think we talked about it. Even the guys at Express Rally were talking about it. 15 vehicles is pretty heavy. I mean, that's a pretty good number. How many did we have last year? It was 12, 13.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was, we made it happen, but it's definitely a different trip than when it's 4 or 5 vehicles.
For sure.
So,
try and bring a radio. I know, Cody, we have a few extras. If you have, is it CB or FM?
We're using the Bofang. The FRS radios, which is, you can buy the Motorola FRS radios for pretty cheap. The Bofang UV5s that we have, what are those, $30, Jose? $35, $40, something like that? Yeah. So those Bofang UV5Rs are great radios that you can program a frequency into, and we'll have everybody on the same frequency, and that's how we communicate throughout. And usually what we do is we take someone at the front, a couple people mixed in, and we got everybody kind of lined up. We are not as cool as the Express Rally team. We don't have gourmet food. We don't have a.
I'm not feeding anybody but my kids. That's it.
We do not have a media team to take pictures. If you want pictures, get your butt out of the truck and take some pictures. But we do have a really good time. Matt's bringing the boys. There's a chance I'm bringing Presley. If not, I'm bringing my wife for sure. So it's a family friendly. Should not be an intimidating trip. It's a very fun trip that we get to go do. And you spend, the goal here, with the change in dynamic of how we're doing things, I think the goal is to get to the campsites a little bit earlier so that we can set up camp, have a chance to hang out, make some dinner, talk. We
have more time.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
If we're going to do an extra at night.
Yeah, and in years past, we've we've gotten to camp at dark. I looked at when Jose, you sent me the tracking from your Gaia last year. On day 2, we did 65 miles roughly in like 5 hours, 5-6 hours. So that's kind of how I judged where. So the Saturday will be a full day of wheeling. But if we're out of camp by 10 o'clock, 3-4
too late, dude.
No, I'm just saying, worst case scenario, we're out of camp, we're packed up and out of camp by 10 o'clock. We should still be able to get to the second day camp by 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So, and
we don't want is to rush, like get, the lights going down.
Yeah.
We don't want to get camp like rushed, like have to cook dinner real fast and then just.
We've done that in the past. The first year Matt came, we were literally watching the sunset, turning on our lights, and we hit a dirt road and we were flying like 60 miles an hour to try to get to camp before it got too dark. Didn't work. We got to camp. It was black, pitch black, and we had to set up the trucks with headlights on to get everything set up, and it was not as fun. So if you're going to come on,
still fun.
It was fun. If you're going to come on this trip, plan on being self-sufficient for 2 days. The food, drinks, water, gas. I'm going to bring. I think we will be okay with just an extra 5 gallons. If we could, because we're going to avoid. There's a couple spots like Fort Paiute. That's a long way off.
Yeah.
And it's all rocky and rough, and then a long way back. Lava Tubes, same thing. Lava Tubes is, even though you can go fast and it's graded road, it's still 10 miles off the route and then 10 miles back. And we're gonna.
What if Jose was excited to take that road again because this year he has icon suspension?
Yeah,
and he didn't have to do 15 miles an hour this time.
That's funny. Plan on being self-sufficient for a couple days. We all band together and everybody helps each other. So you're not entirely on your own, but you should, if you're planning on coming the trip.
Even me?
No.
Even me?
No, the boys, we'll feed the boys, but you're on your own.
Okay.
I don't even know what the weather's going to be out there.
I checked. It was going to be 80s. And then I think 50s, 60s at night. So, typically it's shorts and t-shirt weather during the day, maybe a hoodie, and then, jeans and a jacket at night.
Laser pointers at night.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yes.
Get your laser pointers out.
If you guys want to see
photo ops.
a light show of, is there any pictures of last year's laser show? Didn't you have
the Star Wars thing?
That's what I'm saying. I was going to say, of Matt standing there.
I've saved like the embarrassing ones. I didn't want to post those.
Matt is standing there with a laser pointer shooting up into the sky, and my brother is hanging on his. Wasn't it Casey hanging on your leg like he was Princess Leia from Star Wars?
Yeah, I didn't want Monty to see that. I didn't want to get jealous. All the action I was getting,
Oh man, it gets fun at camp for sure. Once the kids go to sleep,
or to the bees.
That's right.
Yeah.
Last
we're
year,
avoiding that, right? We're going
to a different campsite altogether.
We're not.
Yeah. So
wow, what's that going to be like?
I don't know. So I've got a couple different. What I've done is I've mapped out where I think our campsite is going to be day 1 and day 2. But I've also got several alternatives in that general vicinity. So if we get there and it doesn't work, or there's already people there, we have some options. Cause that's kind of a thing. Like with all of the sanctioned campsites and points of interest being closed, I think you might.
Yeah, we have to find remote sites.
Yeah, we have to find sites that are kind of off to the side, and maybe other people are going to do the same. So we just have to be aware that it's fluid in that we have a couple things mapped out. But if we find ourselves where we get to a campsite and that campsite is taken, then we're going to have to look at the map and go, okay, well,
we're going to have to fight them and kick them out of there,
Mad Max,
and give them beat them down and push them off. And, that's the Thunderdome, baby.
Don't mess with the dome. So
Jesus, don't mess with the dome.
Don't mess with Thunderdome. I don't understand. So there.
No, I agreed.
So we will be. I mean, if you're not comfortable with unfamiliar locations and having to be fluid and making decisions on the fly, this is not the trip for you.
If you're uncomfortable with like spikes and whips and motorcycles with spiky tires, and watch Mad Max. If you're not comfortable with that, I'm just saying, maybe that's what happens. I don't know. I've never done Mojave during COVID-19. And we don't know.
We don't know. We don't. Anything else? Anything, guys, that you think that
he yawned after that? Like there was no just whatever.
I am beat. Yeah. I am totally beat. It's been a long couple days. Is there anything else you guys can think of that people before they go out and register for this that they need to be aware of, that we need to?
We don't have to worry about if it's open or closed. Like it's open. So, I mean, it's on the BLM, it's on the website that Mojave Road is open.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that was part of the decision was, okay, it's open and we're good there.
I think honestly, just, spare tire, gas, even though I'm not even that concerned about gas, and food. This is an extra night that we're staying out there.
2 nights. Yep.
Yeah. Because we usually blitz it. So I think the biggest thing, Cody, is like we have to slow our pace because we usually run pretty fast through it. We can't. We're going to be camping at noon, I think. As far as the pace we usually run, unless we find other points of interest.
Well, if Matt had opened up the map that I sent him that I've spent several nights working on,
I've seen maps
that he doesn't appreciate,
half a decade worth of maps from you, and they're all irrelevant.
That he doesn't appreciate. On day one, I have
your concept of time. You have zero concept of time, distance, or direction. Fact. And so whatever you put down on a map with like whatever color lines you chose to make from point A to point B, we're gonna make those. We're gonna be in advance of those times. That's my prediction.
What's funny is that there are colored lines on the map.
Of course, I've seen the maps. They're irrelevant.
I have. I'm just ignore you. I have mapped out 5 stops.
Go ahead.
5 stops on day one, at different abandoned mining sites and points of interest. My thinking is that you're right. We usually kind of blow through a bunch of stuff, but I think if we're going to have, especially when I was making this, that I was thinking about Presley being there. If we're going to have some kids with us, they're not going to want to do this, 60 miles an hour for 5 hours straight. So the thought was like every 5 to 10 miles, there's a place where you can stop, get out, have a soda, let the kids run around, jump back in, right? Thinking we're going to change the pace a little bit because we can avoid some of the points of interest, like I said, lava tubes in Fort Paiute that are out and back along the same trail, and we're still heading the same direction. So there are several, the Rock Springs, the Government Holes, Marl Springs, like the normal things that we usually see. But I tried to find some specifically different points for us to go look at.
Do you want me to actually get out of my truck and wander around those spots?
No.
To try and slow us down? Because I'll take my time. Because I don't move as fast as I used to, and I'll just walk around like that. What's the spot where the watering hole or whatever for the mules or something like that? I'll wander around that thing. I could, I'll bring like a case of beer or something. I'll just wander around there for a while. I'll slow us down if you want. I'll bring out some charcuterie, and just like some lunch meats and some cheeses and
easy.
I don't even know what to do with you tonight.
Ignore me.
Yes.
Edit that.
I'm going to ignore you. On day 2, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 points of interest to stop at on day 2 over a 65-mile span. So that's also going to be, and we depending on how slow or fast we go, we may skip some things. But if we're doing 65 miles and the goal is to get to the Razor Road area, set up camp, and then go play in the sand bowl and what have you, I want to get to camp on day 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon and still have a couple hours to explore that whole area.
First of all, it's the Punch Bowl, and the Punch Bowl goes off at night. Like, that is the party zone.
I did some research, sir, and the internet says that you're wrong. It's called the Sand Bowl.
Yeah, those are idiots. I don't know who said that. Don't listen to those. That's how you pick out like the posers. If you call that the Sand Bowl or whatever, those guys don't know what they're talking about. It's a Punch Bowl.
Well, I'm saying on the map that you didn't read, it's called the Sand Bowl. So we're gonna refer to it as the Sand Bowl. That's why I didn't
read that map, because it's inaccurate.
We're gonna refer to it as the Sand Bowl the whole weekend just to piss you off.
And I'll drive elsewhere. I don't even know where you guys are heading. Talking about sand bowls.
and then on Monday, day 3, we're 8 miles from the freeway. So my plan was wake up, have a quick breakfast, and get on the road. So that's it. This is happening. This is, we're what I say, 14 days, not even 14 days away from that.
11.
Damn, dude. I feel like in years past, we've spent several weeks getting ready for it, getting the vehicles ready, getting our gear ready. And this has been, this has been so last minute. It's like, we're just going, okay, it's happening.
Jose? Hey, Jose.
Yo.
Welcome to the show. Why don't you say some stuff?
I'm here.
Ugh.
What do you want me to say? Is like, we never plan. Do we plan? And then we never follow the plan.
Oh, don't say that. You're gonna make Cody mad. If you point out the obvious to him, he's gonna go upset at you tonight.
No, look.
Now I know why you're quiet. I'm sorry. Go back to sleep, Jose. Now I know why you're quiet tonight.
Shame on him if he doesn't know that, though.
I recognize that you guys, again, in the email I sent, there was a specific line that says, I'm going to continue to plan and watch Matt and Jose throw it out the window anyways. It literally says that in the email because I know that's what's going to happen.
How many U-turns do you have on your map there?
3.
7
and a half.
Can I call 7? Can I call 7 U-turns? This is actually, you know what? That's probably accurate because we're going completely off the grid. This is I would assume, because we're not doing the normal stuff, we're probably going to do at least 7 U-turns.
So what if we made the entire?
And I'm not saying that's bad. Like, it's still fun.
What if we did the entire trip with no U-turns? What would you do?
We'd be done in like 4 hours, and we'd head back home.
No, actually,
on Saturday evening.
I tell you what, it would take longer. Part of the reason we do U-turns is because we're flying through the desert, and by the time the GPS on my tablet shows that we should have turned left, I'm already past it. And I'm like, shit, now we got to figure out how to get back to where we were. If we went super slow, I wouldn't miss any of the turnouts.
All right, icon suspension guy. Look, just because you're all set up and you're hauling ass across the desert, you don't need to brag about it.
But I got to brag about something. So look, I am excited. I was bummed when we canceled this for other reasons, and circumstances being what they are, we're getting to go on this trip. So we have a handful of spots available. Again, trailchasers.net/Mojave if you want to go on the trip, and it's going to be first come first serve. And I expect that we're going to have I've got 9 vehicles confirmed right now, 2 more tentative. That takes us up to 11. There's probably only going to be 3-4 spots available for this, but we want to try to get as many people as we can on this trip safely and still be able to do it. So if you're interested, go to trailchasers.net and sign up to be on the trip. Any other thoughts? No.
Dude, Jose is catatonic.
I know.
Look at him.
I'm working on the permit. Sorry.
Damn.
Are you really? Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, so Jose is working on the permit, probably because Joe K's in the live feed chatting about it and making sure that we're following the rules. And Jose's right? Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to get scolded for not having a permit.
So Joe K is making Jose anxious about not having the permit.
I'm filling out the form. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm being responsible.
Well, while Jose continues to be responsible, and Matt continues to ignore everything that I do, I am excited about this trip. Do you guys have an over-under? Do you think we're going to fill up all 15 spots?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Tonight. I would suspect tonight.
And
maybe tomorrow.
Maybe by the end of this week, it will be filled for sure.
Yeah.
Remember last year we had all the spots filled and 2 people dropped out the morning of?
That's true.
Yeah. We had a bunch of people. We met at the gas station in Laughlin, and I was texting with people going, "Hey, are you here? Are you here?" And they went, "Oh no, didn't make it.
Yeah, we're not making it. Yeah, we're not making it."
Awesome.
It's like, wait, thanks, bro.
Yeah,
thanks.
So if if you really want to go and you make that commitment, it'd be great if you join us. We would love to have you guys. Anything else? I mean, I can't think of anything else.
No.
Like I had said earlier before we started, it's been a long day for me, and didn't get a chance to get a lot of stuff set up. But I really enjoyed the conversation with Express Rally. Those guys were really fun. I do hope they make their way out here to the West Coast, and we'll do everything we can to get them lost. I'm sure.
As long as they know it.
It sounds like they're on board.
They should know what they're getting themselves
Yeah, it sounds like they're on board. So, all right, guys. Well, with that, we're going to stop the recording here. We'll keep the live feed going for a couple minutes. Thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. Please subscribe on YouTube. Subscribe on your podcast feed. Leave us some more voicemails, 951-394-DIRT. And you can send us emails at thetrailchasers@gmail.com or info@trailchasers.net. I think that one works. Cody at Trailchasers. It's been a while. I'd set that up a long time ago, and I haven't really checked it. I don't know if it works. So I'll have to see if that one works.
Funny.
So, but anyways, thank you guys for joining. Appreciate it. This has been a fun night. And guys, well, Jose, you have a good night. Matt, screw you.
Thanks, bro.
I'm Presley, and thank you for listening. Thank you to Nexen Tire. Thank you to Ika. If you want to be on the show, call 951-394-DIRT. Thank you to Ryan Terrain. I love the music.